right, so let's take a look at what's on the front pages of our local dailies. I have got two newspapers here. I have the Star and the Standard. Let me start with the Star. Raila is my man, Ruto bad for Kenya. That is Uhuru. Kenyatta accuses Ruto of running a campaign of lies in Mount Kenya fueled by stolen funds. That is what happened yesterday at Sagana State Lodge. The president said that actually he endorsed Raila Odinga, saying that the former premier best experienced to steer country. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. On second page here, I was offered cash to withdraw from ICC, according to the third witness, the third prosecution witness in the case against lawyer Paul Gisheru. On Wednesday, told the court that she was offered to withdraw. She was actually offered cash to withdraw from the ICC. The witness said that the attempts were made after she had provided statement to the prosecution in regard to the violence that rocked the country after the 2007 general election. Very quick, Raila is my man. That is the main story here. Ruto bad for Kenya. The president said that told Kenyans that DP Ruto was linked to graft and stole project funds meant for the people of Mount Kenya and elsewhere. He donated the money to churches, according to the president. For the first time, Uhuru publicly asked his Mount Kenya backyard to strongly support Raila Odinga, saying that the country would be safer in his hands. All right. Of course, in verbatim, a lot of things, quote unquote, I'm asking you to support Raila Odinga, Raila means well for the country, etc., etc. You can take a look at that story in details. Kenyatta support for Raila won't work, says Ruto allies. They said that they argue that he lacks capacity to deliver strongholds to Azimio team. Now, the sentiments were made by Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata and MPs Kimani Ichung'wah of Kikuyu and Isaac Mwaura, who is nominated senator, who said that the call came late, as the people of Mount Kenya have already decided who they will vote for come August 9th. And they're talking about Deputy President William Ruto. And yesterday, the president actually showcased his track record, saying that he has delivered to Kenyans. He said that he did not deliver 100%, but to some extent, he did his best. Now, let me say this. Uhuru said that while the Kibaki administration left behind 5 trillion shillings GDP, his government will leave the country's wealth at more than 13 trillion shillings. That settles the whole economy debate on the Star right now. Jen.
Now, let me just pick up at that particular point with the Daily Nation. Again, that is the main read here. My deputy is unfit to rule, but that particular address at Sagana State Lodge was quite, to some people, it did do what he was supposed to do. But the president did actually had a PowerPoint presentation narrowing down the milestones and the progress that he had brought to the counties in the mountain, because there was conversation from allies of the deputy president, among many other critics, that he had ignored the mountain. But he actually had a PowerPoint set up to actually show the projects that have been undertaken in the 10 counties in the mountain, from the 582-kilometer Mau Road. And he actually, looking at the figures that were estimated, the combined economies of the 10 Mount Kenya counties was now estimated to be 3 trillion Kenya shillings, which is equivalent to 30% of the country's entire GDP. So in his own words, of course, which he spoke mostly in Kikuyu throughout the entire address, he did say that they need to stop saying that he hasn't done much for the Mount Kenya region. And on the other hand, while the president was giving his address, we have allies of the deputy president, who, on the other hand, said that President Kenyatta had failed the people of Mount Kenya and vowed to reject Azimio la Umoja once we get to the ballots on the 9th of August this year. They went on to accuse President Kenyatta of falsely stating that his deputy was dishing out funds, claiming that this is misleading information. And actually, according to Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata, he said that the president had ignored the thorny issues that are pressing the country, which range from youth unemployment, insecurity, and the high cost of living. He said that the president actually should be addressing the concerns around insecurity in Laikipia and Lamu. He should have also addressed the harassment that businesses are facing, especially small and medium enterprise businesses. He also said that, he needs to look into address the concerns for businesses that revolve around KRA and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, as opposed to criticizing the deputy president for his help in running the country for the past 9 years. That is sort of a response to the president's address right there, which is actually the main read on this particular daily on the front page. The other story is in regards to food. Again, the hashtag lower food prices is still soaring high on the social platforms. Here now there's a piece concerning the prices of rice, where you will now have to pay more for a plate of rice. And let me just give you some details on this particular story, because it is quite pressing, and especially for the farmers, because this information did come from the farming meeting in Mwea, in the Mwea irrigation scheme in Kirinyaga, where they are saying the cost of producing a kilogram of rice has increased by 12 shillings, which was initially 30 shillings per kilogram of rice. Now they are spending 42 shillings for the same quantity, which is estimated to be a 40% increase. And looking at some of the other aspects that come into play when it comes to farming, and that is particularly so fertilizer. Looking at the top dressing fertilizer, a bag used to cost 1,500. Now a bag is going for 3,400 Kenya shillings, more than double the price. And also looking at other fertilizers, and the example that they have given here is the NPK fertilizer, which used to cost 2,500. Now it ranges between 6,400 and 7,000 Kenya shillings. So consequently, these prices will be translating to over-the-counter and retailing prices that we get to spend as the common mwananchi. That is the front page of the Daily Nation for you this morning. Doreen.
Uhuru, here is my case against William Ruto. That is the main header this morning on the People's Daily, just going by the president's speech yesterday as he was speaking to Mount Kenya. He obviously also took a tip on church leaders, saying that they should not lie to Kenyans just because they have received stolen money. He also what was happening. In fact, he was the last person he talked to before he went to speak to former Premier, that is Raila Odinga, concerning how they could bring peace back to the country. Further on went to say that the deputy is selfish, greedy for power, impatient, dishonest, and an enemy of the region. Such heavy words there from the president. Again, just as Wambo you've mentioned, he also again went ahead to give or deliver what he had done, particularly in the Mount Kenya region as it pertains to the different development projects, and obviously infrastructure as it pertains to road construction in the region took center stage of part of what he has done. He had done in the area in his tenure, and obviously this entire meeting elicited mixed reaction from different and different leaders. Just to mention a few, Senator Kihika said that witchcraft is real. Mr. Kenyatta, please respect the clergy. They have stood with Kenyan people while you have abdicated your job and become the most divisive and tribal leader of our time. Don't judge lest you be judged. This is after, of course, what the president said concerning church leaders. We also have different mixed reactions. In fact, some saying that the President Kenyatta is the least studied leader, political leader, yet the most talked about political leader. So even as that is happening, again, the president yesterday also urged private sector to see how best they can boost in terms of finances, and this is in respect to see how they can channel money. This is during the 7th replenishment cycle to the Global Fund, to see how they can boost finances when it comes to the fight against HIV, AIDS, TB, and malaria in the country. And slightly away from that, there's still an ongoing strike in City Hall, as they have downed their tools since this Tuesday, of course, decrying issues of unmet needs and paid salary, and they said that they shall not relent up until they get intervention from the government on these various issues. So when I get the details, I'm telling you particularly what some of these issues are, aside from just the salary beat that the City Hall workers are crying off. And lastly, really for politicians on academic papers, this is as the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, KNQA, DG, that is Juma Muhwana, said that they will not undertake any vetting of academic certificate for political aspirants for the upcoming general elections. So a bit of relief and a reprieve for aspirants who do not perhaps have the required academic qualifications, just as it has been mentioned there by the Director General. Victor.
All right, on the Standard now, Uhuru, why it cannot be Ruto. Uhuru, why it cannot be Ruto. The president confronts rebellion in his backyard, and in a no-holds-barred criticism of his deputy, Ghana State Lodge explains why he has ditched him for handshake partner, setting the stage for a bruising battle for the heart and soul of region that has been leaning towards the DP. That's what's on the front page of the Standard here. And Ruto cleared to visit the UK and the United States, giving you details briefly. And this is some of the sentiments about what the president said about Raila Odinga. He said that support Raila Odinga. A man seated can see very far compared to a lad on a tree. I choose to sit with Raila. If Ruto mends his ways, we may support him in future. And on Ruto, he said, you cannot give us huge amounts of dubious money and then tell us which way to go while carrying the Bible. You are one who will go to hell. End of quote. Gloves are officially off. Okay, and quickly on to the second page, fourth page actually. Fiery president speaks on why he fell out with Ruto. The president actually stated some of the achievements that in his tenure, or 2,600 kilometers since handshake jubilee tarmacked so far. 1,100 kilometers were tarmacked between 2013 and 2017. 1.9 trillion shillings, a million, which Mount Kenya has received, actually titled is not shillings, in 9 years. 1.3 million people employed under Ajira program, and out of that number, 588,000 are from Mount Kenya. 50,000 people, disciplined forces employed by Jubilee administration, 28,000 of them are from the Mount Kenya region. 400,000 people connectivity, water increased in Mount Kenya region from 400,000 to 600 households. And lastly, hospitals with dialysis have increased from 11 to 82. Now the president said that government has pumped 3.9 billion shillings for the vulnerable, while the cash transfer beneficiaries have received 7.4 billion shillings in 9 years. Interesting there. Of course, the president said that it's now time to speak the truth. He said that he has delivered while others, quote unquote, worked from top of cars. Of course, this was the first time that this sentiment is coming from the president, and perhaps it means the president said that before handshake with Honorable Raila Odinga, the last person he phoned was his deputy. Ruto gets clearance from Foreign Affairs Ministry to visit US and UK. Since 2018, Ruto has been to Italy, UK, UAE, Uganda, South Sudan, and Zanzibar. And Foreign Affairs PS said Ruto had been cleared to travel. Now, Deputy President William Ruto will begin a 12-day tour of United States and United Kingdom starting Sunday. Multiple sources confirm that the visit will include high-level meetings with government officials, elected leaders, global policy think tanks, and Kenyans in the diaspora. The forum will be chaired by the Karen Bass, the chair of the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Subcommittees on Africa, Global Health, and Human Rights. So, according to that, that is it. And finally, Uhuru Raila to unveil Azimio structure. Uhuru to be the chairperson of the coalition party. Raila will be the coalition's presidential candidate. Just simple as that. Details shortly. Jen?
Let me pick up on that health note that you were on. And this is some good news when it comes to the fight against HIV and AIDS in the country. We all know we have been experiencing a lot of donor funding cuts over the recent years, but yesterday members of parliament recommended that 5 billion Kenyan shillings be allocated for the procurement of HIV commodities, and this is still, as we are struggling with the donor cuts that we have been seeing, and this is an increase by 1 billion from the 2021-2022 financial year, where the government had only allocated 4 billion. So in total, the National Assembly the 4.95 billion Kenya shillings for looking at the financial year 2022-2023. That will go towards the procurement and distribution of critical HIV commodities and finance the prevention programs. Now, when it comes to the fight against HIV and AIDS, our country is heavily reliant to donor programs. And actually, they go on to give the figures, because looking at the entire budgeting, approximately 67% comes from donor agencies, followed by the government at 24%. So, broken down to the shilling, it means out of every 10 Kenya shillings that is allocated towards the fight of HIV in the country, 7 Kenya shillings comes from donors. So 3 shillings is what we are able to provide locally, in line with the fight for when it comes to HIV prevention and treatment programs. So this is definitely good news and a step in the right direction when it comes to the fight against HIV and AIDS. Now, coming to the other piece here, Huduma number is central to CBK's digital payment bid. So you will soon, each and every individual will soon need a Huduma number in order to send money or basically make any transactions using your mobile phone. And this is so it is in line with the National Digital Payment System that CBK is in the process of rolling out. They say that the Huduma number will significantly reduce cases of money fraudster cases when it comes to the online platform, given our country has experienced rapid growth over the past 10 years when it comes to mobile money, and it also remains to be the platform that is heavily abused by fraudsters in this day and time. So of the 38 million people that did register for Huduma number back in 2019, those that haven't registered or did not register for the Huduma number, you will be required to have one in order to make any transactions over your phone. Doreen, tukifunga hii maneno.
Tukifunga hii maneno, so let's see the pioneering women MPs who were honored. This happened yesterday, and these are the Kenya's first female MPs, Grace Onyango and former Karachuonyo MP Phoebe Asio. They were recognized this year during the Trailblazers Award. The duo was honored by the government for their outstanding contribution, particularly in promoting gender equality and women empowerment in the county, in the country rather. Onyango was the first woman to be elected Member of Parliament in 1969. She was also the first woman to be elected Mayor of Kisumu in 1967. Asio received a recognition for working tirelessly in pushing for empowerment of women and girls. And remember that also this comes at a time whereby there's a lot of urgency for women to just see how they can vie for elective posts. And again, remember that also we had this on the dailies on Tuesday, whereby women are being urged to also go and register as voters, because this is part of the only way they can be able to get into this decision-making tables, as well as just be on the political space as leaders. So that is what happened there as it pertains to honoring women in leadership and women in politics. Time for us to wrap up in the headlines, I believe.
Yes, it's about that time we get to funga this particular segment, but of course it is Thursday. It is Entertainment Thursday. We always say it's the new Friday here on Good Morning Kenya. We have a fantastic show lined up for you from the artists that we have coming through. We have a DJ in the house today, so my request zikwom. Send them through. We have DJ Shaku. We'll be introducing in a bit. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1. Our individual handles are at Victor Olo, at Dorina Range, at Jane Womboy is how you can interact with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.